On Parshat Vayashev, and it was started off. It says Vayashev Yaakov be'eretz Megarei Aviv, that Yaakov lived in the land of the sojournings of his fathers, Eretz Canaan, in the land of Canaan. One thing that Rashi says here is that actually he brings it down in right here. If you look to the first, the Ashko, the last four lines, the Tanchuma. Actually, we have to go up to it. So, after devoting a mere chapter to the genealogy of Esau and his progeny, the Torah returns to the narrative of Jacob and his family. As has been its practice, the Torah gives short shrift to insignificant people and generations, but speaks at length about important personalities. So it was with Noah and Abraham. They were treated in detail, while the many generations between them were mentioned very briefly. So here's what the Tanchuma compares it to. Tanchuma compares this to a pearl that fell into the sand. Its owner will sift the sand until he finds the pearl. Once he does, he will throw away the pebbles and cherish the pearl. So what the Midrash Tanchuma is saying, this is what Rashi brought down, is that Yaakov is the pearl. Esau, with all his generations, was a sand, was a refuse. It wasn't important to the story of the Jewish people, and on top of that, he didn't carry on what he should have. If he would have, as Hirsch said, as Hirsch comments, that they really was supposed to be a partnership between Esau and Yaakov. If he would have accepted that partnership and become second in line to Yaakov, so then he would have been a much more important character in our history, and would have brought Mashiach much quicker. But since he decided to go on his own path and become the enemy of his brother, as it says, halachi, there's a halacha that Esav sonead Yaakov. The law of the nature is that Esav hates Yaakov, which means that the Romans or his descendants hate us. And by the way, when it says halachi, that's a halacha, and it's a natural thing. It means there's no rationale to that. That's important to know. Why is that important to know? Because for generations, for millennia, we have thought that if we assimilate to the surrounding culture, that they will then see that we are like them and they will love us. It does not work. We can assimilate all we want. They still consider us different, because we are. We have different customs. We have different laws. We have different foods. And even when we give all of that up, we're still different in their minds. That's the irrationality of it. The most assimilated Jews in Germany, intermarried and everything else, were still thrown into the concentration camps because they were Jews. For Hitler, Yimach Shemo, he said to the fourth generation, if your grandmother on any side was Jewish, then you would be considered a Jew. He went beyond halacha for that. It could be from the father or from the mother. So he was going to either side. He wanted to be Judenrein, clean of Jews, or any sort of Jewish lineage. So no matter what we do, we have to understand that assimilation is not the answer. Education, by the way, is also not the answer, showing how wonderful we are, or what our lineage is, and how much we have, our Talmud, and so on and so on. That's also not the answer. The only answer is return to Hashem. Really, that's the only answer. Okay? And that's the only thing that's going to ever help us. Whether or not people want to admit it, that's what it is. Okay, then it says, another thing that it says, Vayeshev Yaakov, that Rashi brings down, he dwelt, what was going on there, that he said, it's not here, it's the next one, okay. But what it says here is that he was when Yaakov, it's going to come to the next one. Let me do it the next line. So Elah told Yaakov, these are the generations of Yaakov. By the way, the Bechor Shor commentary on Torah says that told that he's going with other people with this. He says that doesn't only mean generations, but also the occurrences of. And the reason he has to say this is because it says these are the generations of Yaakov. Yosef. It's Yosef. Yosef wasn't the only one. He was one of 12. Okay, he had 12 boys and one girl, excuse me. So he's only one. So what are you picking on him for? And it says, Yosef ben Shava Esrei Shana. He was 17 years old. Hayaroa erechav batzon. And he was shepherding with the flock, the sheep with his brothers. V'hu na'ar. And he was a young man. Epnei Bilha v'epnei Zilpa. With the sons of Bilha and Zilpa, and Aviv, the wives of his father. And Yosef brought their bad words or their bad deeds to the attention of their father. Okay, and Rashi explains, Ela told Yaakov, these are generations, and it means that these are again the occurrences that happened. Fine. Yosef was 17 years old. Al Yedezeh, through this, Nil Galgalu, they were rolled, as it were, and they would go down. Because of these incidents, they will go down to Mitzrayim. That's the simple explanation of the verse. The Midrash Agada says that these are the generations, Yosef, because of many things. One is that everything that happened to Yaakov happened to his son, Yosef. Okay, what happens? Lo avad ela etzel Lavan ela barachel. I'm sorry. Everything that Yaakov did, he only worked for. He only went to Lavan because he wanted to marry Rachel, right? So that's one thing. And then Yosef was also this, what they call the spitting image. He looked exactly like Yaakov. Yeah.
Did Yaakov look exactly like Yitzchak?
No, Avram. Yitzchak looked like Abraham.
So I'm wondering if Yitzchak looked like Abraham and Yaakov looked like Yitzchak. Did Yaakov look like Yitzchak or not?
No.
Okay.
Doesn't say that he did.
All right. Because then if
right, then you would.
So you could say Yosef looked like Abraham.
Right. No. Correct. So he doesn't. No. It doesn't say. He doesn't say that that Yaakov looks like Yitzchak. As a matter of fact, if he did, that would mean that Esav looked like Yitzchak because they were twins. No, the odds are that twins look alike. And more than that, we know that these twins looked alike because if Yaakov, the way we picture Yaakov is he's sitting in the tents, right? See, he's a skinny guy. Clean shaven. Well, not clean shaven. He wasn't as hairy. And so, but he's a skinny guy because he doesn't work out. As compared to Esav, that's always in the field, and he's a strong guy, right? Yet when Yitzchak feels Yaakov, he says, "Oh, you're hairy, so you're my son." Wait a second, you didn't realize because he's a skinny little shrimp? Come on, so what you're seeing from this, by the way, is they were identical twins. The same way you guys are identical, they were identical. The same way you can fool your parents if you play around, to an extent. I mean, they're going to get after a while, but your voices, you probably can. I mean, to me, they don't sound the same, but when you sing, they do. Yeah. So but that's what I'm saying. You have a lot of things going on there. So what I'm saying is that Esav would have then looked like Abraham. So. That didn't happen. Okay. So anyway, I'm just going along with the logic of that.
Would Yosef look like Esau? Because if Yosef is a spitting image of Yaakov.
Yeah. That would be. Yeah. Okay. You're right. That would be true already. So now he says everything that happened to Yaakov happened to Yosef. This one was hated and this one was hated. This one, his brothers wanted to kill him, and the other one, both Yaakov's brother Esav wanted to kill him, and Yosef's brothers wanted to kill him. And there are many things that they are alike in. Okay, that's another thing. Then it also says Vayeshev, he dwelt. So Yaakov wanted to live in peace. And what happens? Then right away, this problem of Yosef comes up. So here is, he says it? I think he says it. Let me just see. No. So there's a commentary that says, I forget who I saw this from, that Yaakov wanted to live in peace. After all, he had gone through everything. So it's, nobody's saying it here. He's gone through everything, and the answer is God says to him, it says, if you look on your number 1 here, so it says, Jacob settled. From the contrast between the words used for Jacob and his father settle, which implies permanency, and sojourn, which implies wandering, the Midrash infers that after his long exile and struggles, Jacob wished to finally settle down in tranquility. But the anguish of Yosef's kidnapping pounced upon him. Though the righteous seek tranquility, the Holy One, blessed be He, says, are the righteous not satisfied with what awaits them in the world to come, that they expect to live at ease in this world too? Okay, so in other words, Yaakov wanted to already just have a good time. Everything happened to him. He fought with Lavan. He worked for 20 years. He's coming back. He fought with his brother, so on and so forth. He settled with him. Now his daughter was raped. The kids destroyed the town of Shechem. Now he's finally, and he got back to his father. He buried his father. He lost his mother. And he's saying, okay, maybe now my brother's gone, I can have some time off. The answer is no. Boom. 17 years later, well, actually 15 years later, Yosef is going to be kicked out of the house. Well, not kicked out, but he'll be sent off to the into slavery. Right. Thank you. Okay, so now the other thing is, this is another question. He was a na'ar. What does it mean he was a young man? So Rashi says he did things of a young man. Namely, he fixed up his hair. He made sure his eyes looked good, just so he would look nice. Okay? You can picture a young 17-year-old boy doing this fine. He was with his brothers, who were from Bill and Zilpah, the handmaidens' wives, right? But they are the wives of Jacob. In other words, they were full wives. It wasn't that they were freed before from their being maid servants, so that the kids would be full kids. Okay, in other words, they would have all the rights of regular kids. Okay. So what happens? He's with them, and he brings back the bad words to his father. Rashi says, I'm not going to go through the whole Rashi, but Rashi says, everything he saw that his brothers, the children of Leah, were doing, he told his father. And he said 3 things they're doing. One is we're eating Aver min achai, a limb from a live animal. They also made fun of their brothers by calling Bnei, the children of Zilpah and Bilhah, the sons of maidservants, thus calling them servants. And then he said they were also Choshe, a suspect of dealing they were suspect of arayot, which is sexual sins. And all these things he was wrong, by the way. And all these things he was wrong. He said, but he brought this to his father, and the reason he was wrong was because, let's take it one by one. In the first case where Ev Menachai, he saw them slaughter an animal. That's one example, and the animal is still shaking. It's what we call mifrach chesed. When you slaughter an animal, even though you slaughtered it properly and it's dead, it will shake. So residual shaking. For a ben Noach, you're not allowed to eat from that animal until it stops totally shaking. For a Jew, once you shecht it, so then it's done. It's already killed. Then you could eat it. And when forget the part about washing, soaking, and so on and so forth, and taking the salt. The point is that if you would take it there and you take a bite out of it, you wouldn't be breaking the halacha of eating a limb from a live animal. Okay, that's the difference. You're not drinking the blood, so the blood in the that's a whole Gemara that I don't want to get into at this point. The point is, it's not limb from a live animal. But so just to defend for 1 second for Yosef, they are bnei Noach. They're not bnei Yisrael. They're not commanded to not to do certain things. In other words, they don't have the Torah yet. They voluntarily are following the Torah, but they're not commanded. So he has a point. If it's if it's shaking, then you can see what's going. It's something there. So you could make that argument, but the bottom line is he should have he should have asked them, what's your heter, what's your leniency, why are you doing this? Then he said that they were called the Bnei Hashvachot, that he was referring to the kids as the children of the handmaidens. Well, again, the Torah refers to them that way in reference to the parents. No, it was the mothers. There was nothing wrong with referring to them like that, but Yosef, understood that they were saying, oh, so they really are servants, and they're really not our brothers, and they really don't inherit with us. Again, go to your brothers and ask what you're talking about. Why are you being so demeaning? They would have explained to him, we're not being demeaning, it's just in relation to our mother and your mother. That's what their relationship was. Okay, fine. And then, it was, when they were choshev, when they were suspect about improper relations with women, there are many things that we're not allowed to do with our wife when she is in her menstrual cycle. One is you're not allowed to hand one thing to her directly. You put it down the table. Let's say I'm giving her money. So you put the money on the table or food. You put the money on the food on the table. She then takes it from the table. You don't give it directly. So that's only with your wife. If somebody else comes to you, on the other hand, you're in a store and somebody wants, and you have to hand the money to the person, you can put it directly into their hands. There's no concern of that. Okay? People, by the way, if you go into places like, whether it's a very from community, and they maybe even here, I don't know what they do here, but many times people will, because they were trained, just put the money on the counter and let the other person pick up the money. Okay? But again, that's going beyond the letter of the law. We don't really need to do that. But he saw that, and he reported that to his father. Okay? Now that's one way of looking at it. Now I'll ask you a question now. If you look at the verse, who is he with? It says, he's with Bnei Bilam and Bnei Zilpah. And he brought the bad words, the bad tidings to his father. Who is it referring to? How do you get this referring to Reuven? It should be referring to, and this is what the Bechor says, it's referring to the Bnei Shvachot. It's referring to them. It's referring to these kids, the children of Bilhah and Zilpah. He's with them. He sees what they're doing wrong. That's the report he brings back to his father. If I'm following Pshat, simple explanation, let's go in line. He's with these kids, and he tells them, this is what it is.
He's not hanging out with his brothers.
He's not hanging out with Bnei Reuven, he's not with them. He's with Bnei Zilpah and Bnei Bilhah. So I see they're doing wrong. I run to my daddy. I tell him, Daddy, they're doing blah, blah. Now he's 17 years old, so it's a little bit hard to see this. But again, the reason he's telling them, to give him side of merit, is because he wants the father to reprove them so they will do tshuva. But in either case, he's not asking them, why are you doing this? Yeah.
What did Yaakov have other handmaids that were turned wives besides Zilpah?
No.
No, then why does it say they refer to them as children of handmaidens?
Again, in relation to Bnei Reuven, Bnei Leah. Leah is the main wife.
I know, but it says if he was with them and he's recounting all these bad deeds, but it's bad deeds from them, the children of the handmaidens.
Well, it doesn't say of the handmaidens, it says of them.
Rabbi, if you read from Parsha, like I said, he's seeing what the children of the handmaids are doing.
Right.
Who are the children of the handmaids calling children of handmaids?
No. Then Rashi was saying it's referring to Bnei Reuven, Bnei Leah. So they're the ones that would say the sons, the children of the Shvachot. I'm saying there's another explanation. That's Rashi, the Midrash. There's another explanation that says no. The Midrash, I hear what you're saying, no problem, but it doesn't follow simple explanation. Simple explanation would mean that he's doing it about Bnei Zilpah and Bnei Bilhah. And that's why they hate him. Because the major question is, wait a second, how many kids are from Zilpah and Bilhah? Each? Two. So I have 4, right? Then you have Yosef himself. That's 5. Then you have Reuven who wants to save him. That's 6. So 6 versus 6. Right? 6 versus 6.
Benjamin's not born
He is, sure he is.
Is he?
Yeah, he was born a long time ago. He was born 15 years ago.
Oh.
So he's 6 versus 6. So, and by the way, Binyamin wasn't there. 6 versus 5. So the 6 if the 6 want to save him, because he's going to fight, he doesn't want to be killed. So 6 is going to save him. So they're going to defeat the 5, right? So it has to be that he did something against Bnei Zilpah and Bnei Bilhah. Doesn't make sense otherwise. Here he's with them all the time. They love each other, and he's telling on the other brothers. Oh, it's my glorious day. You understand? That's really the problem you're running into. Where are these other kids? So it must be that the bad report was against Bnei Zilpah and Bnei Bilhah. Yeah.
So when he goes to his brothers when they're out in the field and they decide to throw him in the pit, are those brothers the children of Leah and Rachel, or they all?
Again, Rachel is only Yosef and Binyamin.
Right.
Binyamin's not there.
Binyamin's not there.
It's Bnei Bilhah, Bnei Zilpah, Bnei Reuven, and Bnei Leah.
Okay.
That's who's going to throw him into the pit.
Where is Benjamin?
Benjamin's home.
Oh.
So when it says he's going to go check on his brothers, it's all of his brothers.
That's
Besides Benjamin.
right.
So 10 of his brothers.
So Yaakov
Yeah.
had Benjamin and Yosef at home. He said, Yosef, go check on your brothers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the children of Leah got along enough with the children of the handmaids to be able to get mad.
They loved it. They
Right,
loved
right.
it.
But
They loved each other. What are you talking about?
to be able to get mad at Yosef for tattling on the children of the handmaids. It's not just our.
No. There's going to be. We're going to get there. The point is, let's go a little. Just understand that is he's either tattling, if you will, tattling. I don't like to use the word tattling, but he's either tattling on Bnei Zilpah and Bnei Bilhah, or he's tattling on Bnei Reuven. Whatever. So 3 things that Bnei Reuven did. I keep saying that. Thank you. Bnei Leah, or he's telling what's happening to Bnei Bilhah or Zilpah. We're not sure yet. I'm just saying you have those 2 opinions. Let's go on. You'll get more. Let's figure out what else is happening. Israel, Jacob, Ahav Yosef mikol banav, loved his son Yosef more than all his other sons. Ki ben sekunim hulo, because, I'll go with the Targum on this, because whatever he taught him, he remembered. And so he gave him all the Torah he learned from Shem ve'ever, Yeshiva Shem ve'ever, and more than that, because he was Rachel's kid. So he was the one who he wanted to be with. And he made for him this fine woolen tunic. What happens now? Vayiru echav. Okay, he saw his brothers, all the brothers saw. Actually, no, I take that back. It's simple thing is, all the brothers saw. He otu ahav he called echav, that Yaakov loved him more, that their father loved him more than all the other brothers. Vayisnu oto, and they hated him. And they cannot speak to him peaceably. And Rashi says this is in their praise, that they couldn't lie and that they couldn't be nice to him, and in front of him, but ripping down behind his back. They couldn't be two-faced. They couldn't even speak peaceably. Now, here's another interesting thing. What happened? It says they saw that their father loved him more than them, and they hated him. Who's they hated him going on? If you follow the Bechor Shor, V'yisnu was going on B'nai Zilpah, B'nai Bilhah, because he tattled on them. Okay? If you go with Rashi, so then it's going to be with B'nai Reuven and B'nai Leah. stuck on that. Bnei Leah and the others, because he must be doing something with them. Maybe he wasn't pulling his weight with work because he's being a na'ar. If you follow that, he's being a na'ar. He's taking care. He's primping and propping, and making sure he looks good in the mirror, whatever he's doing. And the other kids are working. And why should we have to work while you're a bum? Remember, they're all equal brothers. They're all equal brothers. So if your brother doesn't do something, doesn't work with you, and he's getting away with it, well, I'm going to hate you too. Leave me alone. By the way, hate doesn't mean really hate. It just means that I don't like you as much. Remember, there's no term in Hebrew for like. So it could be they really hated him, which we see that they wanted to kill him, so it's getting pretty close. But the biggest thing is they couldn't speak to him peaceably. In other words, every single conversation would be a fight. That's how the Bechor Shor is looking at that. So again, you're seeing something that goes on that no matter what happens, we have a problem. So Vayomer Alei, yeah.
Could it be every conversation was a fire, or they wouldn't even talk at all?
No, they would speak to him, but they would speak only with, in other words, he would ask him for something, they would say, what are you, bum? Whatever they're going to say to him. They couldn't speak nicely. There was no nice speech. In other words, and again, the point is they couldn't be two-faced.
Right.
There was no two-face here.
Because when I first read that, because we were reading it before we came to class, you studied.
Good.
So
Good.
I was wondering if that's where the saying, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all.
That came from a different thing, but not from here.
Okay, because it sounds like they couldn't say anything peacefully, so they didn't just think, no, we don't want to talk to you.
Right, I hear. But that's not, maybe some people do take it that way. I'm not sure. But okay, let's go on. So, Vayachalom Yosef Chalom, Yosef had a dream. Vayageh le'achav, he told to his brothers, Yosef od sno oto, and they hated, and they continued, or they added the hatred, they hated him even more. What happens? V'yomer aleihem, and he said to them, Shim'u na hachalom hazeh. Now we've been learning enough of brachot to know that why he's saying this. Please listen to this dream, or listen now to this dream, Mashiach Chalamti, that I dreamt. Behold, we were binding sheaves in the middle of the field. In the middle of the field. Behold, my sheaf stood up, and yours surrounded it. And they surrounded and bowed down to mine. Well, your brothers don't like you already. And now you're telling this dream of your sheep remained standing and you all gathered around me and you bow down to me. It's not the smartest thing in the world to do, but again, well, we have to hear the story. So what happens? And his brother said to him, will you rule over us? Will you be a king over us? Will you rule over us? And they added, or again, how does he say this? They hated him even more. Al chalamotov, because of his dreams. Al divarav, because of his words. His words, again, go back to the beginning, that he told it to his father. In other words, they don't like the fact that he's saying things to his dad and so on and so forth, and that's it. So yeah.
For the thing where he said we're learning in Yaakov for dreams.
Yeah.
Had they said and gone back to work, nothing would have happened. They didn't, because they said the dream. They
interpreted it.
Correct. As bowing down.
Yes. So yes, he opened it up because he opened the letter, as it were, by saying it to them. But if they would have said it negatively, words do have an impact. They could have done that. But again, what we're seeing here, by the way, is they knew they weren't going to lie about it. Right. What they're doing is they're incredulous, but they're asking an important question. And I think he touches on it. He says, would you then reign, be king, or dominate? In classic Hebrew, a king reigns with the consent of his subjects, while a ruler dominates them against their will. Thus, the brothers expressed their outrage by asking rhetorically whether he thought they would accept his leadership voluntarily, or that he could impose himself upon them by force. Do you understand? That's what they're asking. You think that you're the youngest, besides Binyamin, you're the youngest brother. Why should you think that we're going to follow you? If anything, we're going to follow Reuven, who's the oldest. And we don't follow Reuven, so we have Yehuda. Or Shimon, or Levi, or whoever. Why do you think that you're so great? Because Daddy bought your coat? Really? Now, I'm trying to make it so that we understand what's going on. That's where we are. Yeah.
Okay, so one, wasn't like, and you think you'll rule over us? Ruling over your brothers, wasn't that one of the things that God said that Yishmael would do?
No.
Rule over his brothers?
No, that was the one who would rule over his brother is Yaakov that ruled over Esav.
No, like
I think
Yishmael.
Yishmael
He
will
said
dwell among his brothers. Or something.
Dwell, not,
Sorry?
Amongst his brothers. Or
Yeah, it says he will dwell amongst his brother. Their hand will be in him, and his hand will be in them.
hand on. Okay, he'll
Right.
be fighting with them.
They won't. No, they'll steal from each other.
Oh.
They'll steal from each other.
Oh, okay. I thought when that's hand.
Right, and they'll hate it. But that's Yishmael. He has nothing to do with this story.
Okay. Okay. I thought it was Ishmael will rule over his brothers.
No. As a matter of fact, like I said, his hand will be in theirs. They'll be over him. They'll hate each other. They're going to steal from each other. It's not a great forecast as to what's going to happen.
Doesn't he also say he'll be like the I don't know what the exact term.
Say it again, please.
I don't know what the exact term is, but it says like he'll grow up to be a
A Rovik Kashat.
Right, he'll grow up to be a jerk or something.
He'll grow up to be a wild ass. That's what it says. It put it into English terms. Right, but that, again, Yishmael, like all of us, Esav, Yishmael, everybody, has free will. And even though the propensity to be that, what Hashem says you're going to be, doesn't mean you have to be that. So and Yishmael does tshuva. We see that he does tshuva. Esav never does tshuva. But Yishmael does, and he goes back with to Avram, and he defaults to Yitzchak when he's burying the parents, the father, and so we see he did. He didn't fall into that. It's only after he died that they fell, as it were. But it wasn't before that. He was doing good. Esav never does good. Esav never does teshuvah. He always blames the world for his problem. To this very day, Esav blames the world for their problems. They never want to take responsibility, and you see that throughout the whole world today. Nobody wants to take responsibility for what they're doing. The first one in history to take responsibility for what they're doing is in this parsha. This parsha? Yeah. It would be Yehuda, where it says about Tamar. Tzadka mimeni. She's more righteous than me. He's the first one to really take responsibility, to say, I was wrong. I should have given her my son Shelah. I didn't. So that's it. But everybody else throughout the whole thing is not taking responsibility, at least not vocally. Reuven moved the beds from his mother, from Bilhah, because Rachel died, so he thought that Leah's bed should become the main tent for Yaakov, and when he doesn't, so he moves the bed out. The Torah says he slept with his stepmother, but it says he didn't do it, and so on and so forth. Fine, I'm not going to get into that whole argument of what he did and did not do. The bottom line is he shouldn't have done it. He sinned. And so, where does he do tshuva? He does it privately. He doesn't let everybody know he's doing it until much later on, where he is now doing it publicly. But all the way through, nobody's really taking responsibility for what they've done. Yosef never takes responsibility. He never takes it. I mean, think about it. You know your brothers don't like you. It's not brain surgery. You know they don't like you, so what are you telling them dreams for? If you go to your father and let him tell you what it's going to be, go to whoever's around and say, I had a dream and blah, 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 or interpret it yourself. You don't have to say it. You don't have to say it to your brothers who already don't like you. You're not being nice to them.
All 10 of them.
Yeah. Again, not 10. We don't know what happened with Binyamin. Because Binyamin was... I mean, that's his brother. That's really his brother from all sides. So it's not his half brother. It seems that they didn't have such a relationship either. I mean, we don't hear about him until much later on. But it's and why he names his kids Binyamin names his kids what he names them. But we really don't hear that much about Binyamin. And so, but I'm guessing they had a decent relationship. But the other ones, the Torah is pretty clear. They were not getting along. But it was his fault too.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but when it says that he would go to his father and tell him about what they did, tell his father about what they did.
Yeah.
Because he wanted his father to admonish them so they would correct the way. Why didn't the father, did the father admonish his brothers? I would assume so, right? That how else would the brothers find out that he'd been telling them?
His father's if his father did anything, he may have come to the brothers and said, "I'm getting this report. Tell me what's going on," and they would have told him.
Right, and they would have told him. So why did he go back to Yosef and said, "No, you didn't get the whole story"?
Apparently not.
Yeah.
Apparently not. So that again is a problem of parenting.
Oh.
Okay. The Torah. Let's understand something. You can get a lot of information from the Torah, and the more you look into it, the more you can learn sometimes what to do, what not to do. And as parents, we sometimes don't know what to do. Okay? Nobody's perfect in this world. And what you're seeing is Yaakov he loved Yosef. And he may have figured, look, Yosef's a young kid. He's only 17 years old. He's a little baby right now. He'll learn and so on and so forth. When our kids start tattling on the other, sooner or later we say it's not nice to tattle. Okay? Where do we get that from? From here. Remember, we're learning from this. This is our guidebook of life. So, we have to understand that we'll never understand them because really it's hard to understand how Yaakov, Yosef, a tzaddik, and so on and so forth. I mean, the monikers that our forefathers are given they're not like us. Let's understand something. They're just not like us. That's not how they're painted. They're painted as these tzaddikim, living amongst people who are risha'im, wicked, and they're still living out their lives. And so when we see what they're doing, we say, that's what you call a tzaddik? I have a sibling relative in our family too, how are they any better than me? Okay, so we're not getting that. But at the same time, as readers of the Torah, we have to understand that Hashem put these stories in for us to read, to put ourselves in their places as much as we can, and to learn, not to condemn them, but to learn from them. And again, to know that when you see something happening, the first point you should do is go to the person who is doing it and say, I don't understand. I understand the halacha like this, and I see you doing that. Can you tell me why you're doing it? Again, assuming that the person cares about halacha. And if it's your family, the person does care. We're not talking about a guy on the street who doesn't care. But if you're friends with that person, so what you want to do is talk to that person, and you want to say, "What's going on? I don't understand. Well, how are you doing that? Dad's not going to like that." Okay? Doesn't mean I have to run to my father and say, "Oh, Shimmy did this. Reuben did this." What are you telling me for? Did you check out? Do you know the facts? Did you talk to them about it? No. So why don't you do that and then come back to me? I mean, if it's really a problem, obviously I'll address it. But if it's not, so learn from that. Grow from that. You think you know the halacha, maybe you don't. Okay? Really, we're learning a lot from that. As far as should a parent go back to the child to say, you didn't get it? He may have thought sooner or later he'll grow up. I don't know. Again, he's acting like a nar. Like I said, a nar is a young child. He's acting like a kid. Because at 17 years old, you would think that you wouldn't be telling on the other kid at that point. It's not. When did you stop telling on your brother? Are you still?
When is important stuff?
No, I'm saying, but when did you stop running to your father and mother? Probably when you were 5, 6.
Can't remember.
Yeah, you stopped pretty quick because first of all, you're brothers.
Don't get anywhere.
You're right. You're not going to gain anything from it. You're going to fight. What do you tell for? You could have kept this quiet. Yeah. So amongst yourselves, you're going to think that way. So, like I said, he's 17 years old. Why is he acting like that? That's also a great question. Is it that because his father was taking care of it and everybody saw it, that they loved him more? And by the way, nobody wants to know that your father really loves the other one more. Everybody wants to believe that that parents love the children equally. After all, we always tell the kids that, right? Your parents would tell you, I love you all equally. Whether or not that's true, I can't answer. But at least it's a good line to put out there. Okay? And therefore, when you are punished, or when you're rewarded, or when your siblings are rewarded or punished, you're not looking at them, or they give you something that they didn't give the other one, or the other way around. You're not going to get jealous of them, hopefully, because you're saying, well, they needed it, I didn't. Of course, that's a big maturity to say that. And mommy doesn't love me less than that. But here, Yaakov is pretty clear about it. He's really bringing his son along. He's giving him all the Torah. He's giving him the coat. Even though, by the way, the coat was only worth $2 more than what everybody else got. It wasn't a major allowance here. And still in all, they felt that their father didn't love them as much. And, by the way, they felt, according to the Meforshim, that they were like the handmaiden's children. In other words, he only had one wife? He only had Rachel? And therefore everybody else is just handmaidens to you. That's how they're feeling towards their father. So you have a lot of animosity running back and forth here. It's an amazing story. Okay. Huh?
It's an amazing story of brotherly love.
Right. So let's go on. So he says, I want to try to finish the first layer. So he had another dream. By spirit told Yaakov, and he told it to his brothers. Vayomer, and he said, "Hinei chalamti chalom od." I dreamt of the dream. Yea, v'hinei Hashem is v'yarech, and behold the sun and the moon. Achad asar kochavim, and the 11 stars mishtachavim li, bowed down to me. Whoa.
The first response of, are you going to rule over us? Are you going to dominate us?
Right.
That first response, you stop telling things.
Yeah, so he doesn't. And by the way, in the first one, they already interpreted it right. So now he wants it to be interpreted properly. So he goes to them again and figuring, they're going to say it. And what happens? Nothing. Now the brothers shut up. They're not going to answer him. They don't want to say it to him. They don't want to say anything to him. They've already messed themselves up on one side, if you will. So what happens? So he runs. Now he goes to tell his father and his brothers. He does it in the public announcement here. And his Vayigar bo Aviv. His father rebuked him. And what does he say? Vayomer lo. And he says to him, what is this dream that you have dreamt? Shall we, your mother and your brothers, come to bow down before you? Oh, wait a second. Imcha is your mother? Who's his mother?
Rachel.
Where's Rachel? Dead. You understand what he's trying to do?
Yeah.
What's he trying to do?
If one part's not true, then the whole thing might not be
Correct. If one part of the dream is not true, so the whole dream is foolish. And why are you saying these things? It cannot come to be. Why did he do that?
Because he saw the animosity growing between the brothers.
Correct. He saw the animosity growing between the brothers, and he wanted to dispel it. From him, we learn that every dream has some stupidity in it. Okay? Because the mother wasn't. Now, Rashi wants to say that the mother was referring to Bilhah. I think Bilhah? Bilhah, who would be his stepmother, because that was Rachel's handmaiden, would take over. She would be the one. But the truth is that doesn't work either, because according to most people, Bilhah was dead before they got to Egypt. But whatever. So, but that's what he's saying. He's trying to disprove that. What happens? Vayikan ubo echav. His brothers were jealous of him. Vaviv shamar devar, and his father guarded the word. In other words, what does that mean? He kept the matter in mind. He said, so Rashi says, Hayamamtim mitzavim matayavo. He waited and he looked forward to when this was going to happen. In other words, he knew that the dream was real. He didn't know. There's stupidity in every dream, fine, but the dream had some prophecy, and he was saying, what does it mean that they're going to come down and bow? Is he really going to be the leader? By the way, for him, for Yaakov, following the story, it would make sense that he would want that. Because really, he is, as far as Yaakov's concerned, the reason he got involved with everybody. If not for Rachel, his mother, then he never would have married, he wouldn't have stayed with Lavan, he wouldn't have married Leah, he wouldn't have had the Bnei Shfachot, he would have had Bilhah and Zilpah, he wouldn't have the kids, he would have married somebody else, Zayis and everybody. But because, and only when Rachel had Yosef was he willing to leave. Okay? So that is the first Aliyah. And we'll have to stop there. Okay.